Hello, wild ones. It is Becca Breen and John here. We're excited that you're here today for another episode of He Said, She Said. Today, we're going to go over just the power of movement and how it really affects our emotions, our mood, and what shifts within us. Often we think about movement is just for burning calories, or at least I did, or fitness, or looking good, or whatever the things may be. But we're really biologically designed for motion and movement. And so, whether through sport or dance, even walking and play, we learn to regulate our emotions. It releases stress, it strengthens social bonds, and then it improves overall well-being. So we'll get into all those details of why movement really releases us in a natural way. It supports and helps us process and restore balance as we go through this today. But before we get there into the nitty-gritty, John, what are you playing chicken with? And
All right, let's play some chicken. As a reminder, this is the time where we talk about the things that we aren't getting to. We stare them down, we acknowledge and admit it, and then, we'll see if we get to them next time we talk. I'm playing chicken this week with some damaged sprinkler heads out front. It sounds like it's a big task. It's really not. I have all the pieces. They're in the garage. They're about 20 feet away from where they need to go. Um, the troubleshooting has been done. I simply need to just it would be like it'd be like a simple Lego build. 10 minutes of work, and I'm sitting there, I'm staring at the gashes in the dirt that are being caused by leaks, and I have not addressed this. So we're going on 3 days here with playing chicken. I don't anticipate Miriam hopping to this one. I think this one's on me. Um, so
is it the leg? What's the reason you haven't gotten to it yet?
No, I don't have an excuse. Other that's not true. The setup and cleanup is the and then, like, the kids, where are the kids in this whole picture as I'm doing this? That's
Yeah.
my that's my barrier to entry.
Okay.
How about you?
Yeah, prior to me answering this question, because you're gonna shame me, and that's okay, I need it. It's helpful peer pressure. We won't say shame, it's helpful peer
Yeah.
pressure. Nonetheless, you would be a fabulous AA sponsor or someone in the sense of how you brought us into that space of what chicken is. I was, like, drawn in of, like, "Oh, I can share my deepest, darkest secrets and be so." Cheers to you for doing that. So my deepest, darkest secret, because it affects you because you're the one alongside my hubby who encourages me to do so, is instead of putting what I need to buy online at the grocery store into my grocery list, which is all set up for me to go and purchase and then go pick up, I instead put it in the shared information with Nick, hoping that then maybe one day he'll upload it or something. And so we have a shared task list. And I'm like, oh, we're running out of milk or yogurt. I'll just add that to our list instead of going into King Soopers click list and do that. So why playing chicken right now, John, is that I end up having to run to the grocery store because next week, preview, life hacks, we'll get into those. You taught me in a previous season, in a previous episode, the value of ordering groceries online and then picking them up. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
However, my actions would not show that. So I am playing chicken with online grocery orders. But we shall see next week if I've completed it or not.
Look, no judgment here. In fact, but right before this, I was calling Miriam to see what we need from the grocery store because I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna carry the mental load of actually determining what we need, and I was also hoping she would place the grocery order before she went out of town. So we're also playing chicken with us too.
Life we live,
Uh,
it's the burdens we
the
carry, right?
Yeah,
My husband does not need to carry this burden. This is fully a me, and I actually do need to handle this, but yeah, you and Miriam play that.
this is a thing that we played chicken with so much that the thing that we did that made it easier was just placing the order online, and now we've retreated to such comfort that that seems too hard, so we got some mirrors to look at on our side as well. Um,
Alright.
Fair enough.
Uh, yeah, quick high-low buffalo just to go through it, just since we haven't seen, like, since we haven't been together in a while. High is that Nick and I got to go to Chichen Itza and celebrate our 10-year anniversary. Low is that we need rain so bad in Colorado to the point that we have reservoirs in the mountains that are completely sand and dirt. which is really
Whoa.
scary. So I'm not sure what California's gonna get. Kansas has our water rights too. Colorado gives a lot of water rights away. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but I it's a drought for sure. So that's a bummer. And then my buffalo would be that Marcus is learning to ride a bike without training wheels, and his dad has taken on that task, and I'm very grateful, and it is so cool to see him pushing through hard and becoming proud of himself in it. Not Nick, Marcus.
Incredible transition here. My high is I taught Cora how to ride a bike over the weekend last week. It was her
Yo, we did not plan this. We did not plan this.
No, this is real. Yeah, we've been pushing it off. She's a little bit later to the game here. So we've been hyping it up for a while, got the right bike that is gonna, like, help make it happen, and she got it in, like, 10 minutes, and she's crushed it, which is, we like, rode to related to the power of movement today,
Yeah.
rode the bike to school yesterday with her. Felt amazing for the rest of the day, so we'll get into that. My low is work travel over the last week. Just not fun. Delays and time zones and poor sleep. So turning the page on that. It's really not a bad low, given all the that's a champagne problem. My Buffalo, I'm gonna say this, and we have no affiliation with this brand, but I did a function health scan, like one of these health scans, like blood panel, and I've made it my identity over the last week. Okay. I'm roses and thorns here. I'm significantly younger in my biological age, which is great. And also I have some biomarkers that I have to like really like watch out for. So you better believe that I have went deep and bought all the vitamins and I now carry around a vitamin pack like an old person. So yeah, it's been good. And I guess this is life in the mid 30s as we start worrying about aging. And um yeah, that's what I've been up to the last week.
Yeah, grab life by the reins. Nick has done that. Jen, who does her huddles, has done it, and mine's on the 15th of April. So this may be, again, we have 0 affiliations yet, but this may be a way that we go because it's holistic living,
Mm,
and that's our hope to figure out. I mean, we wanna stay here as long as we can. We want to see our kids take off to the moon. That's a whole whole 'nother topic that we need to get into is this moon exploration. So cool in the flyby. Don't know if you and your
uh,
family have we've been super nerdy with it, but we wanna be here for the long haul, and so cheers to you for getting it done,
yeah,
and whatever comes of it is helpful and healthy.
it's been good so far. All right, what are we talking about today? Lead us into this.
So I when we talk about holistic wellness and living, one of it is movement. And in the past, I had often said like, "Oh, I just want a hot bod," or "Oh, I just want to work as hard as I can and be as intense as I can," or I had the athlete's mindset of winning, truthfully, and moving through the losses to then get back to the winning, or putting in the sprints to then get to compete. Some of those thoughts, and then coming into a place now where I'm like, actually, 10-minute walk for my lunch break, or we've started to bike to school, which is fun. We have, like, a little Thule behind us or a little cart behind us, so I pull the kids. But nonetheless, I love to bike, and it's so good for my spirit. So let's go straight into that because I know you mentioned that in your, buffalo or in your high for chorus. Let's go into that. What has that done for you guys, or what does that look like?
So, speaking of experience of one, riding with Cora to school, like, I used to do this really regularly, though. I'd throw the kids in the trailer, and off we go to daycare, and the I hadn't done it in a while, ridden, like, early in the morning or, reasonably early, but I dropped her off. We had a great time with daddy-daughter talking about all sorts of stuff, and I sat down at a coffee shop to do work, and my mental clarity and sharpness and, I was just at, like, a "Let's go get it today" mentality, which is what I needed to meet the Monday after taking some time off last week, and that is a stark contrast to the mornings where I roll out of bed, get you know, run through the routine, and then don't even leave the house because my wife's taking him to school, and I sit down and do work. The mental I have a lot more mental fog. I think my attitude towards the work I'm doing when I approach my morning that way is not nearly as positive, and I think it also then leads to for me to, like, you know, other things to numb. So it's like, "Oh, I need" that's when I start scrolling, or maybe I need another snack or other dopamine hits. And I found that just riding the bike yesterday morning to school, like, put a lot of that to the side. So, I wanna get your thoughts on this, but I also have, like, some really good A/B testing, so to speak, over the last 2 months, given I was injured and I could not move as much. I noticed that, my mental state really my frame of mind was much better as I was able to start moving more and more, and I'm still constrained, but I'm able to move in more ways than I have been, say, in January and February, and definitely glad that I can.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to that healing that you're able to bike or watch, and be out there and stuff. So that's huge. And let me give a little background, and then I'd love to hear your experiences because they're just as valid as the neuroscience. As you were talking about movement and mood, something that came up for me, and you're so good about just calling a spade, is movement is a natural mood regulator. And that's factual. Where we as men and women struggle is that either we like that it's a fact or we don't, or we have shame around the fact that of
Yeah.
movement or we don't. And so what is true is that movement equates to mood regulation.
Mhm.
Now it's okay, I'm too busy, or I haven't prioritized it, or I am lethargic, or I've had an accident or surgery, or so many different things that implicate it or affect it. But what is still true is that movement releases feel good emotions or chemicals, specifically dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, all these things. You mentioned dopamine earlier, all these chemicals that allow us to live more lively, that allow us to say, hey, let me put my best foot forward. Oh, let me crush this work presentation. Oh, let me be joyful around my kids. Naturally, movement will let us have higher rates of that and higher levels of that. And so, as you were sharing, what came up for me is really how do we come to a place of releasing shame that we have around getting out of fitness or getting out of the habit of working out or moving or going for a bike ride in the morning, going for a walk in the morning. I think of the elderly people who I see walk and they're just happy. They're just content humans and they walk a ton. And the sun's on their face, they're not on their phones. And so what I come back to is factually, movement changes our mood for the better. Period, full send. What we really need to dig into is how do we get back to it, or what's the relationship I have when I am not moving my body as much? So we can come back to neuroscience, but with that in the background, what have you experienced over the last couple months?
Yeah, I think a couple things jump out at me, like, um, I am also inclined towards intense workouts or gym sessions, benchmarking against where I was when I was probably 27, right? So, luckily, I don't benchmark against when I was in college,
I was gonna say I was waiting for
but
21.
I do they say the male body's peak athleticism is, like, 27 and 28. And so I have this vision in my mind's eye of, like, what I was in 27 and 28, and it can be discouraging when I don't bench press the same, when I don't run the same mile time, or I don't look the same.
Sure.
And I think the key here really is for me to enjoy the process, because if you're just enjoying the results, that's a long time to wait to So I think that also leads to some of the things that you're talking about, not putting it all on like 60 minutes at the gym, but getting, 10-minute walks when you can, deciding to take a meeting as a walking meeting, opting to spend time to go walk somewhere as opposed to drive there.
Mhm.
And yeah, I fall in the same trap though of like my performance used to be this, I used to look this certain way. Um, what I'm need to stop and reflect on though is when I move, how do I feel? And like for me, this is not like prioritizing. This is not an issue. I will carve time out of my day almost every day to go to move my body. And recently, it's been in the gym where I can do exercises because I'm like mobility constrained at the moment. Um, but I try to mix it up, and I think it is not just what you say is I'm working out, but how you decide to move throughout the course of the day, whether that's at lunchtime, whether that's with your kids. I think those little habits stack and add up, and it's funny, like, by virtue of falling in love with those things or just, like, focusing on enjoying that, the results that we like to see come faster, actually, than if we, like, put all this so much weight on getting to that Orange Theory class or getting to that park, or whatever it may be. That's been my experience, you know, over the last year.
Yeah, I think it's accurate. It's factual of when we work out or when we move our body or when we engage with movement, the dopamine, the chemicals that we were just talking about are still there and they're actually enhanced and they're actually increasing in levels. And so they can't change. They don't have an emotion attached to them. They
Yeah.
just do. They'll just either rise or fall based on what's put in. They're the output. And so in that, then it's like, oh, wait, I am fitter. Or, oh, my pants fit a little nicer. Oh, my energy is higher. Or right. So these outputs that you're talking about do still come when we move. And so for me, I was the opposite of you for the last 5 years. And whether having babies, a surgery, life, I really got out of the habit. And today actually was the first time I ran outside. What I will say though is air runner stuck. We're just gonna throw that out there. Air runners, burpees still, ugh. But go ahead. I see you have something.
No, that's incredible. Today's the first day you ran outside because I know you started on the air runner, and the first time you ran outside in how long?
In 7 years. Because I've had 2 ACL surgeries, right?
Amazing, Becca. That is
Thank you.
awesome.
I wanna see that. As someone who's had injuries as well, you know. Like, I'm terrified to not get to work out again for a while or not get to move because in the past when I would run, I'd be in so much pain afterwards that it would be weeks before I'd get back to doing something. And so over the last 7 years, yoga's been a huge piece of my story. Over the last 2 months, through loss in the family, lifting heavy weights has allowed me to go into a zone that I didn't know existed and been part of my healing process. Those 2 combinations, when I ran and I ran, let's see, it would have been 2 miles today, so in segments at our gym and stuff, but I did it outside, and guess what? I am so grateful for yoga because as my brain was going off and like, "Are you sure you wanna keep going? Oh, you sure you can do this?" And all the real natural things, barriers saying, "Don't do it, don't do it. What about the fear of your knee?" All those things. My breathing, that's all I focused on, and it brought me back to a place of one foot in front of the other, and I didn't stop. I did not walk, which I'm so grateful for, and so for some people, it might be like, "Whatever." For me, huge wins, and what I will say, if I didn't learn breathing during this season of not intense workouts, I I wouldn't have ran as well as I did today. And so it's just one of those things where I say to people, or I guess what's coming up for me in the takeaway as I reflect is in seasons where, for whatever reason, the barriers exist, continue to move when it's not high intensity with intentionality. Learn to breathe, learn to find joy, learn to still show up and play with your kids, whatever it may be. Because that is something for me that practically is speaking out. And again, it's backed by neuroscience, but I'm seeing that in my life right now. And here's just a little tidbit that Nick and I talk about for all of our wild ones, for ourself and our brain. As we lose weight, as we fit better in our clothes on this journey of movement, if it is weight loss or fitness, is saying, oh, my energy levels are so much better.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so much better. Leave the looks out. Sure, feel fabulous or whatnot. Or for those of you that are partners to someone else, instead of saying, oh, you look so beautiful when someone is thinner or is more symmetrical, therefore our brains think that symmetry is more beauty or is more beautiful. Instead of saying you look so beautiful or you look so great, say, hey, how do you feel? Oh, how's your energy? That's just a little tweak that we can do as humanity to make a massive difference in our shame culture to say, yes, our energies are better when we move. Yes, we do feel better when we move. And chances are we do look more, quote unquote, symmetrically beautiful. And so that's also a true statement. However, there's a lot of shame attached with weight loss or even on the flip side of being more toned or physically built for men or different things like that. So I share that as a tidbit to say, hey, can we be conscientious of the language we speak over ourselves and that we speak over our partners and kids and those around us? So anything coming up there for you or yeah, where you're at as far as movement?
Uh, I think that's a really good point to make about supporting your loved one in this as well. And I would also add that because the door to the type of movement you're used to doing closes does not mean all doors are closed. Find other ways to open doors. It could be as simple as walking. If it's not walking because your legs don't work, move your arms, right? If you don't wanna go to the gym because you don't like the environment, go to where you feel inspired to move. Could be outside, could be a room in your house. And then I would also say for married couples and married couples with kids to prioritize the mother's movement and physical activity in the house. That is like the biggest indicator of of children's approach to exercise and movement is, did they see their mom exercise growing up? And I think there's a lot of I think there's a cycle we as a generation are, I think, are breaking.
Yeah.
Um, just different generational approach, but I think it is really important to prioritize that. Like, I'm gonna take the time. It's I kind of force this is self-centered, but I force it. Like, I'm going to exercise 5 5 to 6 days a week, and I find ways to make it less impactful. There's childcare to where I go. I try to go at times that are more conducive to it. But for the mothers that I know, do not prioritize it. They prioritize their husbands and their kids first, even not even consciously, it's like subconsciously. And we as men, I think, and husbands have to really encourage and help facilitate our wives moving.
So good. Yeah, I mean, I fell into that, and I still do. Nick's really allowed me to buy, and the gym I go to allows our kids to come. So, like, those 2 things, right? Systems, and then
Yep.
also our household. Both of those things have allowed me to find myself again, and having truthfully yoga on a video in the basement works too and stuff. But yeah, no, I appreciate that as a female and a friend, 'cause I definitely fell into that. So
Yeah.
60 seconds is centered, and then we'll end with me asking you one question. But 60 seconds is centered today is motivation comes after action. So for 60 seconds, I want us to go outside, unplugged, release, don't have your phone, walk down the stairs if you're in an apartment, walk out your front door if you're in a home, wherever you are, 60 seconds, and allow your brain to think motivation comes after action. One foot in front of the other, sync the breath, inhale 1 step, exhale 1 step, inhale 1 step, exhale 1 step for 60 seconds. It might turn into 10 minutes, but 60 seconds, reminding ourselves that I'm not going to be motivated. I just need to do it. And once I do it, motivation then comes. So, a little bit of heads up there, 6 seconds to practice. What my question for you, John, before we sign off is you're at the gym or you're moving, you got your headphones in, AirPods in, or you got headphones on. What's your go-to music? Mine is like trap beats rap from 90, 2000. What's yours?
Uh, um, two-part answer. When listening to music, I think Outkast has been my recent. I've been listening to some Outkast. Love it.
Yours
I've
Outcast?
been recently, I've been going no audio at all in the gym. There's a Gen Z term for this that, it's like not watching
Mouth
anything on
or what? What? Tell me what is this? What is
No,
this called?
raw dogging this. I have to edit that out.
But that's a thing. That's a thing.
I'm it I'm trying to be really present. I found, like, I went from music to I want something lower stimulus, then I go to podcasts. That's been too stimulating, and now I'm just trying to, most of the time, just nothing in the on the
You hear your breath.
Mhm.
I love that. All right. Are y'all raw doggers with at the gym? Are y'all listening to trap beat? What are y'all doing? We're just gonna throw it out there and leave it there.
Or Andrea Bocelli.
Oh, hey, I'm not against that either. I just need
No,
to figure out what my sin is. But in this season, trap beats. So here we go.
there you go.
Hey, wild ones, thank you for joining us. We are so glad that you're always here. This is another episode of He Said, She Said. We're out, y'all. Have a great week.
So long.